Good evening and welcome to the April 6th meeting of the Prior Lake Planning Commission. I'd like to, on behalf of all of the planning commissioners tonight, I feel like I'm in a sea of good company tonight. I'd like to invite everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey there. Good to see you. We have two public hearings that I will read some instructions for just in front of those two public hearings. But before that, we have agenda item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda, and then that will be followed by the approval of our February 2nd, 2026 Planning Commission meeting minutes. At this time, I'll seek approval of the agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve this evening's agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Our agenda for this evening is approved. Next, we'll move to the approval of the February 2nd, 2026 meeting minutes. Is there a motion and a second to approve those minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. All those in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
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 Our February 2nd, 2026 meeting minutes are hereby approved. Next, we'll move to our public hearings. We have 2 of those this evening, and I want to go ahead and read read some opening comments about how those 2 public hearings will commence. First, staff will present its report on the request or issue at hand, and planning commissioners will have an opportunity to pose questions or comments about the staff report. Next, the applicant, if there is one, will have an opportunity to address the commission, and commissioners will respond to the applicant with comments or questions. Following the applicant's presentation, I will open the floor to public comment. If you wish to address the commission, I'd ask that you please approach the podium, press the red button to turn on the microphone, and then clearly state your name and address for the official record. So that everyone will have a chance to speak, we ask that you limit your comments to 5 to 7 minutes in length, and that you make concise statements of fact pertaining to the specific application. This meeting is the official public hearing and your primary opportunity to be heard on the matter. The City Council has no obligation to accept further public comment, and in many cases they do not. So please do not hesitate to speak. And with that, I will announce the first public hearing. This is item 4A per the agenda. This is PDEV 26-00004, 17599 Ridgewood Court, Southeast. This is a combined preliminary and final plat and easement vacation. Messenbrink Construction and Engineering is requesting approval of a combined preliminary and final plat to be known as Ridgewood Court, consisting of 2 single-family lots. The request also includes vacation of an existing easement adjacent to the property, PID 253530030. So I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The location map for the subject properties, you can see they're at the intersection of Mushtown Road, southeast, and Ponce Parkway, southeast. So as the chair mentioned, they have applied for easement vacation along with combined preliminary and final plat. The properties are currently undeveloped, and we're both platted as outlots for the adjacent Woodridge Estates 4th Edition and Parkwood Estates developments. The applicant is providing to subdivide the property. It's about 2.5 acres into 2 lots, one 59,000 square feet, one just under 52,000 square feet. As you can see here, there are concept houses shown on the plans with 45 by 45 building pads, enough to accommodate a a typical home. The easement vacation, they're proposing to vacate drainage and utility easements within Outlot A of Parkwood Estates. The city's standard 10-foot drainage and utility easements were dedicated over this southern parcel in 2021. The city's standard drainage and utility easements were not dedicated over the northerly parcel when that was platted in 1998. The applicants are proposing to dedicate necessary drainage and utility easements on the final plat of Ridgewood Court. So this is detailing the current easements in place. A basic management class wetland is located on the site. That requires a buffer strip with a minimum width of 15 feet and an average width of 30 feet. Much of the property is encompassed by this wetland area. A developer's agreement will also be required with the Prior Lake Spring Lake Watershed District for the establishment and recording of the declaration for the conservation easements. The property is currently designed or designated by the 2040 comp plan for low-density residential. The zoning, the subject property is currently zoned R1 low-density residential, and the subject property conforms with the comp plan land use map guidance. There is an existing trail along Ponds Parkway, which must be extended to the far northerly property line. Access to both lots will be available from Ponds Parkway southeast to the east of the property. City utility work will need to be completed before or concurrently with this project, and notice to proceed with construction will not be issued until city work is underway. There's going to be a shared sanitary sewer service for the proposed homes, which will be private to the existing manhole on Ridgewood Court Southeast. An agreement will be required between the two properties for responsibility and maintenance of the shared manhole and the sewer service to the existing manhole in the street. Utility easement shall be provided in favor of Lot 2 across Lot 1 for the proposed water service coming off of Ponds Parkway. And there is a need for future grinder stations to accommodate the sanitary sewer service for the lots. These should be shown outside of any kind of drainage and utility easements proposed on the plan. Stormwater meets the threshold for treatment. However, proposed new impervious is going to be greater than 3,500 square feet. So the applicants will need to meet the city's stormwater requirements for rate and volume management. They need to prove this through a stormwater management report, and may potentially be required to add a small rain garden to accommodate the increased impervious. An NPDES permit is also required for the site as it exceeds 1 acre of disturbance prior to construction, and all drainage slopes shall be a minimum of 2%. The swale near the home on the northern parcel will need to either have a drainage and utility easement dedicated for drainage or be graded to direct water down the property lines within the current proposed drainage and utility easement. Calculations should be provided modeling the existing 100-year 10-day snowmelt event to determine if the wetland is landlocked or not. And stormwater requirements and grading plans will be reviewed by the city staff as part of future building permit review processes. So our recommendation to the board tonight is to hold a public hearing, and then we would recommend a motion and a second to recommend city council approval of the easement vacation along with the combined preliminary and final plat for Ridgewood Court, subject to the comments listed in the attached Ridgewood Court review memorandum dated 3/26/26.
I'll move to commissioner comments at this point in time. I'll lead off with just a couple of questions. Again, staff, thank you for that good plan and the accompanying visuals. I'm wondering about two things. I'm wondering about the tree plan, grading and tree plan, what we can expect, what residents can expect. And then my second wondering is the stormwater management report. Could you help us understand when, in the context of the project, that report will be forthcoming to the Planning Commission? So number one would be the tree and grading plan. What does that give us a sense of how that will occur and when? And then also item number two for me, the stormwater management report. When could we expect an update on that?
Commissioner, there has been a tree inventory submitted along with the plans. They show removal that does not exceed 35%. You can see that a lot of the trees being removed aren't considered significant trees as well. So they are making an attempt to save trees in the area, especially the more mature heritage trees that they do receive credit for. Then the second part of your question, the stormwater management report, and what stage of the development would that be done?
Yeah, so we would be looking for, the stormwater management report is gonna vary based on what ultimately is proposed on the site. So a larger home, more impervious surface may require a different level of ponding or water collection. So at the time of building permit submittal, we would be looking for a stormwater management report based on what they're proposing to actually construct on the site.
Thank you. Our community has a long history of being wedded to trees in the environment, so I wanted to make sure that we got that on the record. So thank you, staff, and I appreciate having a sense of the timing for the stormwater management report. So I'll move to other commissioners. Commissioner Nicholson, questions or comments for staff?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schmokel?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because the wetlands is taking up such amount of space, I just want to have some reassurance that the lots that will remain that can be buildable, that they can have a sufficient size house, and I'm understanding that that is true, right?
Correct, yep. There's no concerns about the lot sizes on staff's end. Both lots will be able to accommodate a good-sized house. The conceptual building pad showed that 45 by 45 feet. However, they would probably even be able to fit a larger home if needed.
Okay, and then my second question is in regard to the rain garden, which I understand would be coming later when you know a little bit more about the houses. Whereabouts might that be? Lot 1, Lot 2? Is there a sense of where it would likely land?
At this time, I don't think there's a proposed location. However, they would have to separate it away from the wetland.
Okay, and that's probably where it seems a little like dicey about that. That's it, thank you.
All right, I'll move to the other side of the dais. Commissioner Rook, questions or comments?
Are there any potential impacts on the neighboring properties due to the easement vacation?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, will there be any impacts to any neighboring properties based on the easement vacation?
No, the easement is contained to the subject property.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rook. Commissioner Fenstermacher?
More one question, more procedural, I guess, when it comes to typical plating requirements. An outlot, does that typically get a perimeter drainage utility easement?
Not in every case. More recent plats, we would show the city standard drainage and utility easement on an outlot. The southern lot does have that drainage and utility easement, and was that a 2018-ish subdivision? The other one was from the mid to late 90s and did not include an easement.
Because without plating, you can't build on that outlot. So you would need a plat regardless, and you'd get a perimeter drainage utility easement at that point as well.
Correct. Yeah. So generally on an outlot, if it's the standard 10-foot easement, it doesn't matter what they ultimately propose on that lot. It's still going to include that 10-foot drainage and utility. In this case, they're shuffling the property lines around a little bit, so the existing easement, if we did not vacate it, would be essentially going through a building pad. So the final plat will grant the city and the public the necessary easements, so the ones previously granted would not be necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tennyson.
Yeah, the only question I had, could you repeat the piece about the trail extension? I just was trying to make sure I followed that.
Yeah, so the plans show a trail. It kind of cuts off before it gets to the northerly property line. So that's just one of our engineering comments, that it must go all the way to the north, make the connection.
Thank you, Commissioners Tennyson and Fenstermacher, and Commissioner Yurko.
No questions.
Thank you. Those are all of our questions and comments. Would the applicant, if they are present, like to address the commission? Please press the red button and then state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Jennifer Haskamp. I'm the owner of Swanson Haskamp Consulting. We're an urban planning firm, and I help the Messenbrinks with their entitlement. Our offices are at 550 Vandalia Street in St. Paul, Minnesota. So I thought I would take just a couple minutes to answer a couple of the questions that came up as part of your discussion, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Part of our application process has included preparing some of the stormwater reports already, and our engineers have gone back and forth a couple of times with your city engineer with respect to what will need to happen in terms of stormwater management on the site. From what it looks like at this time, provided that we are meeting certain square footage requirements, we may not need those additional BMPs, which in this case would actually be a good thing just because of how the site was laid out with the original plat. So we are working to try to minimize the impact on both the wetland, the area, making sure that we're meeting all applicable setbacks, and then making sure that the drainage that we do provide there actually goes to where it needs to go, for lack of a better way of saying it. So when I spoke to our engineers before the meeting, they said that I think we're on our last iteration. We've, I think, submitted 2 sets of plans since this memo was drafted. And so we've checked off the majority of the items that are on your engineer's list. So with respect to that, the idea is obviously to minimize the impact, but also to meet all of your standards with respect to the stormwater. The second piece has to do with your questions regarding the tree removal. And I spoke with your staff about this a while back as well. The intent is that these will be custom-built lots or houses, and so we don't know exactly where those footprints will go. Conceptually, we wanted to show it to demonstrate that we can comply with all your setback requirements, that there's adequate space for those homes, but the footprint itself might vary. Obviously, it's probably not going to be a perfect square, as you see on the plan, and the idea is to minimize the number of trees that are removed. So instead of giving you a pie in the sky, we did an estimate of what we think those tree removals would look like, but obviously the goal is to retain as many of those trees as possible, and we will know more once we have those custom designs for each lot. So I won't belabor anything else because your staff did a great job. If you have any additional questions, I am happy to answer them, and if I can't, obviously I can get those from our engineer.
Thank you. I have no questions. Are there other commissioners that have questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
With that, I will entertain a motion to open the floor for public comment. Is there a motion and a second to open the floor for public comment?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right, the floor is open for anyone in the viewing audience that would like to address the Planning Commission on this item. Thank you. Please remember to press the red button and say,
Right there.
state your name and address for the record. Thank you so much.
My name is Mike Hennessy. I live at 4662 Parkwood Drive, Southeast. So I have two basic points. I've been learning since I received this, and which I was kind of wondering about. Then I came over and I got this, more information from the courthouse here. Basically, the first point concerns sound abatement. So, if you take a look at some of the homes that are on 190th, there's one home on 190th, it might even be Credit River. The guy's got his house close to 190th. It's so close, what they had to do was he put in a berm. Okay, if you go to Legends Golf Course, you'll see it there. And in this particular property, 3 doors down, one of the new owners bought or put in fencing, so there's no gap. So I haven't asked him why he did it that way, but maybe it's because of concern about sound abatement. And so when I see this plan here, the one that's closest to Mushtown, maybe that person, when they get in there, and they might realize, it's getting noisier and noisier, I'm going to put in a fence or a berm, okay? I could see something like that happening. So is that such a good idea? Maybe, maybe not. Which leads to my second point, is a better idea is to have this be just one property. And then this would be the house, okay? The one that's more to the north would be their primary residence, and then this would be some kind of an outbuilding, like a garage, detached garage, which could double as sound abatement, and that would kind of mirror what is done on the other side of the road. In the sense, they have a bigger lot. Spring Lake Township has bigger lots. So those are my two main points. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Same instructions. State your name and address for the record.
So where's the red button? Oh, it's green already. Okay. Hello, Jim Barker. I live at 4665 Parkwood here in Prior Lake, across the street from Mike. About 3 houses up from that open lot, which has been open for 29 years since we built our house. We've gone through this before. The end house in Ridgewood went through the same sort of process. I think the couple of questions that I had, the one is this feels a little rushed with what's being laid out to move forward. Messenbrink sat on this for 29 years, and I know it was a bit behind on property taxes as of last fall. So just wondering, is this going at the right pace, or are we really rushing to get that lot filled? And I hadn't thought about Mike's comment about should it be a two houses on the lot or one, but it just might be worth some reconsideration as you move forward. We know something's going to go in there. It's better than having them come in and pay the extra money and fill in the wet space and move forward, which is what they did when they put the one house in on Ridgewood. But just be judicious in the process moving forward, and don't rush this if it feels like it's rushed. For me, as somebody who doesn't, I deal with data and technology. I don't deal with civil engineering. But I think you just need to take your time as you move forward with things. So, but thank you.
You're welcome. I'm wondering if any of my fellow planning commissioners and or staff have any response. I'm especially interested in this notion of it feeling rushed and pace, and 29 years is a long time. And so I also understand that intention versus impact can be two totally different things, depending on what perspective you're holding. But Casey, would you care to enlighten us?
Sure. Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission, and thank you to the members of the public with the questions. In response to the timing of it, I don't believe Messenbrink Construction owned both of these parcels until within about the last year. So one was included in the adjacent plat on the east side of Ponds Parkway. Let me look there quickly. In the Parkwood Estates neighborhood. So Messenbrink did own the northern lot, and we have had staff discussions with him over the years about doing one home on there. The southern lot, the Parkwood Estates, became available sometime last year and was acquired by Messenbrink, and then he pursued this 2-lot proposal. As far as one lot or two, that's really up to the developer. What they prefer, this is a 2.5 acre piece of property with probably over 1 acre buildable. Our standard lot size that we're seeing right now in Prior Lake are about 8,500 to 10,000 square feet. So the idea of 2 lots on 50,000 square feet of buildable area does not seem like a lot to staff. And then as far as the noise barrier, that would ultimately be up to a resident if they wanted to do a berm or a fence along that property line. There are going to be utilities within the boulevard, so they would need, if there are utilities in the ground, they would need to stay out of any drainage and utility easements, that kind of 10-foot setback area. But if a resident chose to put a fence for some noise control in their side yard, that would be something that is allowed in our city code.
All right, thank you so much, Casey. Are there any additional commissioner comments or questions? Commissioner Yurko?
Casey, in that regard, if, let's say, a berm were to go up, then they would have to look at the drainage, I assume, again, if there was something with the topography that was modified for something like a noise barrier?
Correct.
Great, thank you.
I don't see any. At this time, I will entertain a motion in a second to close the public hearing, unless is there anyone else in the viewing? I'm sorry. Come on up. Talking about pace, right? And the Planning Commission chair blows it. Feel free to, no, you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like it's on.
Good.
Dan Rogers, 17588 Jet Circle Southeast. So one question, clarifying question. I think I heard they'd be accessed from Ponds Parkway, correct? So the driveways would be there. Has safety been thought of there? On baseball nights, softball nights, big weekends, that road is busy. The trail has numerous kids walking, scootering, biking, and I mean, I would just be concerned with their safety because they're going back and forth from what I call a gem of Prior Lake. Those two parks are beautiful and people love them. There's tons of traffic that go through there on the busy nights and weekends. So I would submit that is a safety concern to have driveway access crossing that trail, that sidewalk, if you will. And then selfishly, I purchased my lot 3 years ago, knowing that those were outlots, and that's what I would have out my back door. So I would, if it was maybe accessed from, forgot the name of the road on the other side, and it was that would probably only access one home, but I'm sure that the trees would remain here if they're only going to do 35%, but they'll be clearing the front side or Ponds Parkway side, I'm sure. But my main point is safety. I would argue that is taken away from safety from that gem of Prior Lake right there. If you just monitor it on a weekend, and I'm sure some of you have, there's a lot of kids walking and scootering and biking. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any commissioner comments? Questions?
Is Ponds Parkway a through street, or does it both north dead end into a park and the south dead into Thomas Ryan Park? I'm not familiar with the geography there, sorry.
Yep, so from the south, Ponds Parkway goes along the west side of Ponds Park and then kind of loops around the north side of the park and then dead ends into a parking lot. But there is also a street that tees into it, which is 170th Street. So there is an exit if you were to go north on Ponds Parkway. You can get out going west on 170th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there anyone else in the viewing audience? Yep. Hopefully the green light is still on. Please state your name and address for the record.
Anastasia Rittering. I live at 17620 Jet Circle. I do just want to echo what Dan was saying. All the kids from our neighborhood and beyond use that path to get to the park right now. And if there were driveways coming through, I am a little, concerned about just cars in general, pulling in, pulling out. Right now, we can let our kids kind of go and watch them as they go until they arrive at the park. And, yeah, I mean, the safety is, I would agree with Dan. I would like to see something, as far as safety goes, just any thoughts or plans on if we're gonna, how that path is gonna go. That is all, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Right. I appreciate the comments and the sincerity behind those comments. Thank you very much. Casey, would you like to maybe address what I heard anyways, that the primary concern of safety and how those considerations have informed the planning process up to this point in time, and how they'll be integrated as considerations as we move forward?
Yep, thank you, commissioners, planning commissioners. Again, thanks for the question. So safety is a hard one because, you know, Prior Lake, everybody wants our community to be safe. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of these situations around the community where driveways back out, you know, and there's existing trails and sidewalks. With 2 single-family homes, we would expect all of our single-family homes, it's generally 10 vehicle trips per day. So that's 1 trip, you know, to and from school in the morning counts for 2 trips. You run to the grocery store, that's 2 trips. You pick up the kids, 2 more. Take them to soccer, 2 more. So between these 2 homes, we would be looking for, you know, probably 20 vehicle trips each day on average. So again, like every vehicle trip proposes a risk. I understand the concerns. I assume that is heavily used by scooters and bikes and kids in and out of the park. But we have, like I said, this situation all over the community, and it's very difficult to design neighborhoods and build homes if we wouldn't allow driveways to cross sidewalks and trails.
Thank you, Casey. And my assumption is that when and where appropriate, signage or helpful signage could be considered, just to make sure that people are really making an effort to be safe.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Commissioner, especially in this situation where if children in the neighborhood are used to this trail, that they'll be aware that there's driveways approaching. And I'm sure the homeowners or whoever ends up living in these homes will be very aware that there's an active trail on the edge of their driveway as well.
All right, thank you. Other commissioner comments?
Along those same lines, maybe you already said it, but there is no parking allowed on Ponds Parkway. That can also assist in safety?
Correct. I don't believe any parking is allowed on this portion of Ponds Parkway.
So there's nothing to block those sight lines for anybody pulling in and out or coming down Ponds Parkway?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fenstermacher. Commissioner Yurko.
What's the condition of the trail currently? I understand it's not continuous throughout both of these parcels. Do you know what the condition is?
I don't know the condition off my top of my head, but I believe the plan is to relocate the trail further west into these lots to create more of a green boulevard area, green space, because currently the trail sits on the edge of the curb. So it'll be shifted back 6-8 feet, and it'll be a new trail constructed.
Has there been any consideration of moving the trail to the east side of the road?
There has not.
Where there is all backyards?
Not that I'm not aware of any discussion or consideration for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Yurko. And any other thoughts from commissioners? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any last questions or comments for staff of commissioners? All right, seeing none, I will move to recommend approval of a combined preliminary and final plat to be known as Ridgewood Court, consisting of 2 single-family lots. The request also includes vacation of an existing easement adjacent to the property. For the record, this is PID 253530030. And as always, I have confidence, and I think the Planning Commission as a whole has confidence that staff will take note of all of the questions and comments generated tonight at the public hearing, and as appropriate, integrate that thinking and as they are collaborating with Jennifer and her team to move this along. Is there a motion and a second? We did. Did we? Oh, my bad. We need a vote to close the public hearing. So we had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The public hearing is closed. Now we'll move. I'll do it one more time. I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the combined preliminary and final plat to be known as Ridgewood Court, consisting of 2 single-family lots. This request also includes vacation of an existing easement adjacent to the property. And for the record, this is PID 253530030. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great, thank you. Now we'll move to agenda item 4B. This is also a public hearing to consider amendments to the Prior Lake City Code, Section 10-168, related to motor vehicle sales uses, specifically allowing motor vehicle sales without inventory as a permitted use with conditions. I'll turn it over to staff for their presentation.
Chair and Commission, thank you very much. Tonight we have a kind of staff-initiated suggestion for a ordinance change to our city code. Here's a quick summary, kind of the 30,000-foot view here, which is dealers require licenses to operate a dealership in the state. This, as a part of that application process, the dealer is required to conform and to confirm the zoning rights that they're going to be located in. And Prior Lake, that means that other dealerships require CUPs for motor vehicle sales, which are CUPs that are related to inventory. So it's making sure that cars are put in the right spot, making sure that the activity of monitoring and activity of selling that inventory is maintained and controlled. In certain cases, though, and this is becoming more prevalent recently, some auto sales operations don't have inventory at all. And so their operations are more of a office use. And so what we're taking a look at is how can we better accommodate those sorts of opportunities within the city to fill up some of our commercial spaces and spaces that could really benefit from this type of operation and not be an impact on our community. And so we're looking at providing a new definition, which includes a permitted with conditions where it's appropriate. And so this amendment is meant to address that issue. Oops, excuse me. And so for today, we're looking to propose an amendment that clarifies regulations on motor vehicle sales, particularly when it comes to sales without inventory on site. This is to ensure consistent zoning application and also a more streamlined process with our applicants that come in that don't have inventory associated with that operations on site. And we're looking to make it sure that it's compatible with surrounding uses. So again, we're seeing an increase in requests for this office-based auto sales use. Again, businesses operate without vehicles on site, and so the impact is much less than what we would have with a normal automobile dealership. Again, as we went over in our summary, these require licensing verification. It's done at the staff level, so we have to sign off on a document. And as a part of that, they have to go through a CUP process. And so the idea is, well, how do we make this more clear, more straightforward for those that want to do that? And so, we did talk a little bit about, we're seeing some of those requests come through. There's 2 that we've done recently that have gone through the CUP process. In 2025, we had True North Truck and Auto. This is off of Bowdoin. And so they're basically more of an international outfit where they import from Canada and other places. And so they never see the inventory itself. It goes straight to the auctions, and so they'll never see a car there. It'll never pass through their offices. But they have to have a physical location so that they can be audited and so that their records can be observed by the state. In addition, we had in 2024 traditional equipment leasing. That was a business where they sold RVs and vehicles of that nature, and they mostly to folks that live down south in Florida and Texas. And they have lots of clients who live in Prior Lake and places like here, and they do their snowbirding down south. And so they never bring the vehicles back up here. They go down there to service them. They go down there to do that sort of operational things, and they just need an office space to do the admin stuff. And so that's really what this particular ordinance is focusing on. The problem with the current ordinance is that it's designed around the traditional dealership model. It assumes that they're going to be displaying automobiles, and our code does really well for that, because what we're trying to do in our code right now is control the on-site, making sure that it's compatible and that we don't have an effect out beyond the border property of the business. Currently, this does not address office-only sales and creates uncertainty and inconsistency when that arises. So the applicant's wondering, well, I don't have cars. Why am I going through the CUP process? Well, this helps to address that issue. So our proposal is to create a new use called motor vehicle sales, no inventory. And this recognizes the office-based sales model and operates under those standards and improves administrative clarity and gets rid of some of the ambiguity with applicants and what they do and what they need to do to get their office business done. Our proposal is to provide this as a permitted with conditions use within our town center, again, for a business standpoint from a office use, commercial in a C1, C2, and C3, mostly operating much like a hospital records administration type thing. An industrial one, which I don't know if we'd see a lot of that, but making that available because those sites often are appropriate and don't cause any impact beyond what a normal industrial zone would do. As a part of the key conditions for being privileged to use this permitted with conditions is that they would not be allowed to store or display vehicles outside. No overnighting of inventory from a permanent standpoint. All operations are inside an enclosed building, so they wouldn't go out and try to make a sale of a vehicle on the floor. They would have to come inside the building, and that's where they conduct their business. No repair, servicing, or detailing on site, meaning that if they have to do that, it has to be at a professional detail location, somewhere hopefully in the town, where they'd go do that. And that in all other respects, they need to be in compliance with our regular parking standards, meaning that if we have a rule for on-street parking, they would have to maintain and make sure they're within the laws of that for, say, their clients or for their workers. Let's see here. In addition to those, we do have a standard that we would use where there'd be no use of parking areas, so places where an employee or a customer would do a transaction, they couldn't use that for parking spaces for any inventory. So not only is it not allowed, specifically you couldn't do that anyways. Limited presence for vehicle pickup and delivery, so this would be for temporary, it gets dropped off, you quickly go pick it up with like a scheduled pickup, if you will. No outdoor or public addressing system, so no loudspeaker where your bill has to come check on the customer. No loading restricted, or loading would be restricted in all residential streets, and then test driving subject to applicable laws. So if you go to pick up the vehicle, you take it around the block. You just have to make sure that you're following all of our applicable laws to that. So again, the idea is that this is lower intensity than the regular dealership model. It minimizes noise, lighting, and traffic and impacts that a normal dealership would have. It's consistent with office types uses, and it helps to adapt to the different evolving business models. For tonight, staff requests that you hold a public hearing and consider that public input. In addition to that, staff recommends a motion and a second recommending approval of the proposed amendments, particularly section 10-268 and 10-185 to the Prior Lake City Council to amend the code. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions you may have, and we would like to have a hearing tonight, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So while you were presenting the report with all of that great detail, just for kicks and giggles, I put into Google, my question was, what types of motor vehicles are there? So there are passenger cars, sedans, coupes, hatchbacks, convertibles, wagons, SUVs, and crossovers, including crossovers, sport utility vehicles and crossover or CUVs, trucks and commercial vehicles, pickup trucks, vans, minivans, semi-trucks, commercial trucks, motorcycles and three-wheelers, motorcycles, moped, scooters, auto rickshaw, three-wheeler, and then finally specialized vehicles, so off-road ATV, recreational vehicles, as we know them as RVs or campers, and then construction of farm equipment. So I just want to just clarify that we're talking about passenger vehicles. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, great. I have no other questions. Other commissioner comments or questions? Commissioner Yurko.
I just have a comment. I think clearing this all up will be very helpful. I do think there's some verbiage in there that I would really like to see tightened up. Some use of words like limited. What does that mean? Right? You have an issue that comes up. Well, it says it's limited. And so there's just some of those words I'd like to have, if we don't have those defined already somewhere in the code as to what that really constitutes or stands for, that we tighten up some of those language
Absolutely.
pieces.
We can take that under advisement. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Great. Commissioner Nicholson, any comments? Thank you. Commissioner Schmokel?
I just had some clarifying questions, which I think I've already gotten answered. You're expanding it to other areas of the zoning than that inventory would have, and there was one part about neighborhood commercial C1. It seems like we only have 2 areas in town that are C1s by the 4221 intersection south of Verling, and then also I guess Bowden is the other one cited. Do we envision anything else where it might be neighborhood commercial? Because now we might see a blend of residential and commercial where things might, and maybe that's something down the road, but I just want to bring that up.
I think it's
worth, it's a new zone to be added for just this.
Well, so we have, that new type of use would be included within that C1 zone. I think that's worth taking a look at and seeing, how we open up that zone to either different types of possibilities and keep that in mind as we go forward.
Because I know at Spring Lake, the Spring Lake Township area, we're going to be looking at in the new plans, maybe we'll have more C1s out there.
Correct. And I think as we start to push down to the expansion areas, we keep that in mind, that as we zone, that be careful about how we're zoning it and the intentionality of that. And so that when we do, like we do now, as we're discussing this particular ordinance amendment, we see how that kind of plays out within the different areas. So yeah, that's very wise.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rook, any questions or comments?
Are there other cities or jurisdictions that have gone to this model that we are aware of?
To be fair, I haven't done a lot of research in that particular area, but based off of my knowledge of working in different cities, I've never seen anything quite like it.
Okay.
Mostly because they look at the traditional model, and it's been kind of how it is. They want to sell on site. But I think because of some of the unique characteristics of our community, whereby we have folks who do travel down south and other places, this is a popular space for that sort of activity. And they want to be close to somewhere at home, and they know that they can trust somebody within the city. I think that's something to take advantage of.
Great. And this idea of tightening up the language, I think I agree with, but is there this 24-hour movement rule? Is there any way that there could create opportunity that somebody could, kind of fall within that loophole and kind of skirt the intended spirit of the rule?
I think it's worth thinking about as far as like intended versus unintended consequences. I think the spirit of that particular option was to provide for an opportunity to complete the transaction, if you will. As they go to do their paperwork, they can grab the vehicle and go. Obviously, a person could try to abuse that sort of system, and I think maybe it's worth taking a look at before the final, but I think we have review as well. We can see if that's becoming habitual. And if it is, that becomes a code enforcement issue. If they're violating the conditions of the permitted use, they could lose their ability to do that.
Sure.
And so that would put their business in jeopardy, and that would put their license in jeopardy. And that's a lot to risk on, playing games with where your car is for 24 hours. So I would hope that in the spirit of this ordinance amendment that we're allowing the potential for additional freedoms within that zone, that they wouldn't jeopardize the whole thing.
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fenstermacher?
No questions, I'd say.
And finally, Commissioner Tennyson?
No questions, just I think makes a lot of sense with, a new business practice. We got to change the rules associated, so.
All right.
Thank you. In favor.
Thank you. I just have one sort of cosmetic question. So in the slide presentation, it references section 10-268, but in the agenda, it's referenced as 10-168. Is it 268 or 168?
268 would be the correct number.
268?
Mhm.
Okay. Great. I don't see anyone in the viewing audience who would like to address the commission, but I'm required to invite the public audience 3 times for the record. So is there anyone in the public audience who would like to address the commission on this agenda item, number 4B? There is none, so we will, still open the public hearing. Is there a motion and a second to open the public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And so the public hearing is now open. There's no one in the viewing audience who wishes to address the commission, so I'll take a motion and a second to close the public hearing at 6:51 p.m. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at 6:52 on agenda item 4B, and then move to any commissioner comments. Any additional commissioner comments? Seeing none.
I'll take one here.
Oh.
I just want to comment that I too kind of commend you to find an opportunity to open more commercial into town. I think that's this is really creative and is a good move, so I'm definitely supporting this. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Fenstermacher. Any other commissioner comments, questions?
I might have a question, comment. Do you foresee there's other, this is part of just changing times in business, right? It's evolution at its best. Do you foresee any other industries like that would impact the community and the city that you're looking at in the code?
Potentially, this one is a little unique in that when they get their dealer license, they come to the front desk with a piece of paper that we need to sign saying it's either permitted or it's conditional use.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do that with many other businesses, but there may be similar ones coming down the road.
Yeah. No, I get it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. With that, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve considering amendments to the Prior Lake City Code, Section 10-268, related to motor vehicle sales uses, allowing motor vehicle sales without inventory as a permitted use with conditions. Is there a motion?
So move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? None opposed. So the motion carries. We'll move to agenda item 5, which is old business. Is there any old business? No old business. I did speak with Casey before the meeting kicked off officially about new business. This isn't on the agenda item, but some of you might be aware. I certainly am, due to a conversation I had with Casey about 2.5 weeks or so ago. But we seem to be getting some good traction and movement on the portion of the Veerling site. When I moved here in 2002, that was just the question that kept coming up: when, what, and where. So I'm going to just turn it over to Casey to just give us a brief overview of what seems to be in motion. This is not a discussion item for us to approve, but I just want us to be aware of what's in motion.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Specifically for the Veerling family property, we have received an application from Pulte Group, and they are proposing a residential development where they would construct Fountain Hills Drive from where it currently terminates all the way to County Road 21, new intersection, turn lanes, and things at County Road 21, and then they're proposing 4 different types of single-family residential homes south of the Fountain Hills Drive extension and north of Carriage Hills. So it's a mix of single-family attached, kind of a row home style, side-by-side townhomes, a villa product, and a more traditional single-family detached as well. So we're working through our review. We hope to have that at the Planning Commission hopefully next month for preliminary planned unit development, preliminary plat, and it also involves a comprehensive land use plan amendment. We're not changing any land use designations, just shuffling them around within that development. So yeah, hopefully you'll see that in May.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. With that, I will entertain a motion in a second to adjourn this meeting at 6:55 PM. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed, are they? All right, great.
None.
We are adjourned. Thank you.